Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Imperial Creed as we get into 40 facts about the Redemptionists. A Redemptionist is a fanatical priest of the Adeptus Ministorum who follows an extreme and unforgiving doctrine of faith in which redemption in the eyes of the God Emperor can only be found in death. Many Redemptionists seek their own redemption on the battlefield for the sins they have committed against the God Emperor. They also desire to bring redemption to others, finding one sin particularly offensive, and seeking any opportunity to bring the Emperor's final judgment to those Xenos, heretics, or those who traffic with demons. The Imperial Creed is not a forgiving faith. Those who observe its doctrines in the strictest possible way know that redemption is only found in death. Redemptionists will often congregate in cults whose focus of hatred for a particular sin in the Emperor's eye is similar. These cults are highly xenophobic and violent. These members are sworn to expunge all sins with fire and blade. For some cults, their focus of hatred is very limited. Mutants, witches, or aliens, but for Redemptionists, sin exists in every creature, which can be purged only through bloodshed. A few cardinals within the ecclesiarchy see these cults as breeding grounds for assassins of the faith. They will provide the cult with resources as well as targets. Confessors or other clergy will often accompany them to document and bear witness to the faithful's campaign of cleansing. Those Redemptionists who prove themselves competent or especially devoted are often recruited into the service of a cardinal or inquisitor. Although pro-imperial, such militant factions can often pose more of a threat to the Emperor's peace than the heretics they seek to destroy. Their mob mentality and ability to rouse a populace into a frenzied witch hunt, blinded by its all-consuming need for the guilty and blasphemous to be cleansed, can cause serious problem to any planetary government, upsetting the balance of power, which allows a world to continue to exist in a galaxy containing 1,001 threats. The task at hand is never truly done in the eyes of a Redemptionist, for all of the Xenos can be purged of the area, but then all those who aided them must also be purged, followed by those who might fail in the future, and so on, until everyone is prosecuted for failure to prevent such heretical acts. Planetary governments must often act quickly before the frenzied need to put the blasphemous to the pyre spreads, but Redemptionist cults can also be manipulated by individuals for their own agenda, and often act as a front for even more cynical activities. Clever leaders will find new targets or crusades for their Redemptionist cults. More drastic means may also be utilized to control these cults, including condemning the members of a cult as a heretic themselves. Inquisitors, especially those who are zealous Puritans, put such reactionary cults to productive purposes in acolyte cells that lack either focus, faith, or simply a large chainsword capable of rendering an orc or a heretic in half. The Redemptionist, however, is only a man, and is susceptible to many of the same confusions and wounds as any other man. Determination and faith do not make one invincible, and many die willingly for their cause. Flamers are the weapon of choice for such militant fanatics, as the Emperor is often symbolized as the cleansing flame in these cult doctrines. Other than flamers, spike maces, whirling chain axes, chainswords, and other weapons which render and tear flesh in a scouring manner are also extremely popular among Redemptionists. Archdeacon Ludmilan is a self-styled leader of the Redemption in the Calix sector, who has crushed those opposed of her with ruthless efficiency. To cement her spiritual rulership, Ludmilan released a number of dictates to which all those true and pure should adhere to. The first one is red is the color of redemption. It is the color of fire and blood. The second, do not consume narcotics, alcohol, or other substances that give pleasure. They are sins given substance. The third, do not suffer the witch to live. Cast them to the fire. The fourth, do not suffer the mutant to live. Rend his flesh apart. The fifth, do not suffer the heretic, for they have heard the Emperor's truth and have heeded it not. Force them to penance and then to death. The sixth, Should the Emperor's service require you to appear as others, do so. The mask and red robes of redemption must be donned when the time comes to set the sinners to their fate. The 7th, when you take up weapons of the Emperor, do not show your face. You are the Emperor's tool and not on your own business. And finally, the last one, pain is a gift. Mortification is a duty that should be performed daily. A strict adherence to the vengeful spirit of the Imperial Creed is the first step down the road to becoming a Redemptionist. Faithful communities from all across the Imperium of Man produce Redemptionists and their cults. It is possible for both men and women to be members of one of these cults, perhaps coming from an ecclesiarchal community dedicated to the zealous Redemptionist doctrines. It is equally likely that a cardinal or inquisitor had an individual trained as a Redemptionist from birth to serve with a specific purpose. The Redemptor Priest is a linchpin of any Redemptionist cult's crusade to cleanse heretics, xenos, or witches. He is the inspirational figure that the brethren follow to test their faith. It is he who is greeted with rapture by the Redemptionist cult members, and who commands their clandestine help. Only the words of a Redemptor Priest can fire the fury in men's heart, or save unbelievers from their sinful existence. Deacons of a Redemptionist cult attend to the secular affairs of a crusade, silencing dissenters, controlling the crowds while the Redemptor Priest preaches, protecting his person from defilers, and so forth. Deacons are confirmed brethren who are fanatically loyal to the Redemptionist cult and completely trustworthy in the Redemptor's priesthood's eyes. Their faith is rewarded with a position of responsibility and the best weaponry. Brethren make up the body of the Redemptionist cult, the great mass of supporters who have dedicated themselves to the path of righteousness. Confirmed brethren are those who have spent some time in the cult. Novices are often ordinary workers who have been brought into the cult after hearing the preachings of a Redemptor Priest. The senior members of the cult hope that their fanatic zeal will compensate for their lack of experience. Brethren are usually well armed, but with simpler weapons than those available to the Redemptor Priests or his deacons. Zealots are the crazed individuals present in Redemptionist cults who have been touched by the Emperor's fury. Zealots are so filled with bile and anger against those who would transgress the God Emperor's will that they are in almost permanent state of rage. They test their faith by plunging headlong into combat with the greatest sinners they can find. They even lash at themselves with whips and flails to savor the pain of purification, but they would rather carve the path of redemption into their enemy's heart. Zealots carry only pistols or close combat weapons, preferring their battle of faith to be fought face to face with the sinners. Zealots are more commonly armed with eviscerators, a giant double-handed chainsword fitted with an exterminator flamer, to slice and burn the unbelievers into charred lumps. A Redemptionist cult sends units known as crusades that are comprised of their most dedicated and fanatical brethren to purge sinners with the holy fire of battle. A crusade is led by a Redemptor priest who has the blessings of the cult's council or the hierarchy of the local ministorum and is supplied with weapons and followers. A crusade destroys abominations and battles heretics as they find them. The redemption priest will preach to the locals of wherever the cult happens to be located and reaffirms their faith, while the cult's brethren take a tithe of their produce or request that they make a donation to the collection plate. Then and only then will the crusade move on to battle the forces of darkness, keeping their fellow citizens safe from the real or imaginary mutants, witches, and gangs of heretics wandering their locale by shooting them on sight. When numerous Redemptionist cult members come together without the leadership of a religious figure, such as a Redemptor priest, a fanatical mob can form. These mobs are generally formed by rambles of poor working class Hive City citizens who decide to take vigilant justice against the first group of perceived sinners they find. The path of righteousness is maintained at its purest with regular public witch hunts and mass burnings of heretics and mutants. And those were 40 facts about the Redemptionists. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's going to be a part 2 where we go into individual Redemptionists and the Redemptionists of the Necromunda cult, where this originated from. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get that. Please like this video. By you guys liking this video, it really helps out the channel. And comment down below if you have any suggestions for Imperial topics that you guys would like us to discuss. If you have a question about maybe something in the Imperial citizen's life, please put down in the comments below suggestion followed by that topic, and we will try to create a video for it. Stay safe out there on Black Friday, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.